Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Let me tell you something.
You're listening to QSJ, Digging Up the Underground.
Let's get back to the mix.
DJ.
I don't fuck with nobody, but myself is enough. Always late to the party, wonder why. I got bad enemies, teaming up with that. So when I'm back on my shit, more than alive, they all want me dead, alright.
When you hear this back, you'll probably be like, oh, that's nice, perfect song choice. Because it's more like, you kind of like unstoppable.
They want me dead, the blowing candles burning sage. It's not a myth that I got a skin thicker than the fairy tales they're writing. They want me dead, they sticking puppets making prayers. I feel no demon, I'm trying to walk back, I'm burning bridges, then go there. Oh shit, man, he dead. Oh, shit. It's not me, it's my jacket, I try to hide it. Damn.
Let me tell you something.
You're listening to QSJ, Digging Up the Underground.
Let's get back to the mix.
DJ.
Big shout out to everybody listening, tuned in to QSJ Radio, Digging Up the Underground. Today we got a special guest. It is Marisa Simonetti, and I had to listen to a whole bunch of people mess that up, so I practiced for like forever, okay? You got to throw in the little, like the Italian gesture in there. Is a businesswoman, political figure from Edina, Minnesota. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Minnesota and manages the Simonetti real estate team, focusing on transforming distressed properties into community assets. In 2024, Ms. Simonetti ran for the Hennepin County Commission District 6 seat, but was unsuccessful in both the special and general elections. She has announced intentions to run for a statewide office in Minnesota in 2026. So basically, we are in campaign mode. Simonetti campaign emphasized fiscal responsibility, public safety, and reducing government waste. She opposed the Hennepin County's potential designation as sanctuary county and advocated for efficient management of projects like the Southwest Light Rail. Her political journey has been marked by controversies, including a misdemeanor assault charge that related to a dispute with a tenant and the revocation of the real estate license due to fraudulent practices. We'll get into that and see what happened there. Additionally, Ms. Simonetti has openly discussed her experiences as an adult worker. We'll get into that part because, you know, that's all over the internet. Aiming to challenge societal stigma and promote transparency. Welcome to the show, Marisa. Welcome to QSA Radio.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Listen, I know it seems a little bit crazy, but when people go into politics, some people feel like they have like this straightforward kind of life, and obviously that's not the case for like anybody. People had traumas growing up. People had situations where they're not from the country, get citizenship, again get elected. You know, there's a whole bunch of things where everybody feels like they have to have been chilling with Johnny Appleseed and doing their thing. How could you share, if you could share, because this does come from going to school a little bit, right? Because things were introduced to you through school. How could you share your journey from earning a psychology degree and then managing real estate? And how does that experience shape your perspective?
Yeah, so actually through all of my 20s, I'm a single mom. So I had my son in my early 20s. And in that time, that's when I did we call it adult modeling.
Yeah, we'll do that.
If you go to my social media, it's just fun and cute videos.
Okay.
There's no Audrey, right? Like your kids could look at it and not even think twice. There's a video of me roller skating up in actually this t-shirt. So it's very kind of a wholesome public facing brand. So yeah, throughout my 20s, I purchased rental property with the income that I made from adult work. And last year, I went back because I had my bachelor's degree partially done, about 75%. And I went back and I graduated from the University of Minnesota last year in 2024. So, not everybody's path is perfect.
No, definitely not. I know mine isn't, so I really want I want people to really understand that the transparency you have is also shows the strength that you have, right? So a lot of people won't get it until you got the little girls or of those people that are going to tell you these things. Now, when you go to see, my son is trying to go to school for psychology. How did you go from psychology to real estate? I mean, that's
Yeah. I mean, so I love people and I love learning. My intention actually finishing my psychology degree, my plan was to go to law school. I was thrown into some legal things, I mean, as people have recognized. And the law is super confusing and it's set up as kind of this behemoth that's difficult to understand. And it's very costly. Like even throughout my campaign, I spoke with people who lost most of their resources or didn't know what to do or felt like they were in a lose-lose situation. So when you can kind of take your power back by learning, I wanted to go back and help people in family law. And you need a bachelor's degree to do that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and finish my bachelor's degree and take the LSAT, and took it, applied, and then had to make some choices of what direction I was going to go last year. So
this politic thing is basically new. Like, I'm gonna tell you, people don't understand. It's so new that it doesn't bother me that people still have their Christmas lights up new. Okay, like it's fresh, it's right there. But what motivated you into politics and your 2024 campaigns? What has that taught you? Because I'm sure that there's been like, oh man, I didn't know it was like this, or I knew it was like this, but I didn't know how to approach it. I don't. How was your?
Yeah, how did I go from as a single mom finishing my bachelor's degree, having the modeling, all these other things, to like now I'm running for public office? It seems crazy. Yeah. Have you ever had that experience where like you feel in your gut that you're supposed to go this direction? You don't know why, but you're supposed to. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. It was one of those things. I knew nothing, but I was like, I'm supposed to go and jump. And so I went and filed. It was $50 for the special election. Okay. I had jumped in. There were 6 candidates. I was one day before the deadline.
Oh, man.
And yeah.
Did you even know that it was a deadline, or did you?
No.
It was just one of those walk-ins.
Well, the weekend before, I found out that there even was a special election, that it was in my area. Oh. And that's when I was like, I'm supposed to go do this. Ha ha. Maybe this will be a funny joke. The worst I can do is lose $50. I didn't quite, it hadn't hit me yet. And I was like, okay, well, I'm supposed to do this. So I filed, and there were 6 candidates. And when there's 6, you have to do like a final runoff for the top 2. I was speaking at events. I was meeting with people, and I made top 2. Nobody expected it. Walloping. I spent less than $750 against one guy who spent $71,000.
Oh man. Of course.
$71,000.
See, I'm not a politic guy, so I'm trying to figure out, where does the money come into place? Because they always bring that up when somebody's running, how much they raised, how much they spent. Where is this? Why is that a number? I need to know.
Yeah, for a small local special race, I mean, doesn't it seem strange that for a small race, someone would spend $71,000 in a matter of weeks?
Yeah.
That seems strange.
So, well, the money, where does that go to?
So there's a variety of different like campaign expenses. Some people do mailers. Some people hire people to canvass, door knock, hand out literature, all of those kinds of things.
Oh, okay. So basically street team marketing kind of thing like that. Shout out to my DJs out there.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. Yeah, you work. I mean, you know how hard you work.
Yeah.
And all the little go into it. There's so much.
Yeah, a lot of people think that we just got a mic and then cross our fingers, and really, it's sometimes you got to buy your friends, and yeah. So like I'm on Twitch, right? And I've been on Twitch for a long time, and some people really go off of this "you support me, I support you" thing, but support has like dollar bills. After a little bit, it becomes more of a friendship, right? But the way that you kind of like grasp somebody is basically if you paid to be their friend first. It's really ridiculous. But anyways, it's almost basically the same thing, right? I got you. Here's like a certain amount of money. We won't get too much into that because actually that kind of like hurts because I'm a people person. So why do I need to flash a bunch of dollars in order to kind of gain your trust, which is ridiculous. But anyways.
It feels transactional.
Yeah. And then after a little bit, it does turn into some friendship stuff. It does. But then after, it's like some people still go through their stuff. So you still don't know these people. But well, that's a different show. Okay, Maria?
I didn't know you were a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, we're live on Twitch now.
Are we? So tell me, I've seen Twitch. What is Twitch?
So Twitch is basically, while YouTube was doing this thing and on coming up, there was a website called Justin TV. That was basically the place where the gamers went to put video content on, right? And after a little bit, as you started seeing the creatives, basically the artists, the musicians, it started becoming kind of like a place where they go to. Then it changed to Twitch TV. You can go on Twitch. You got to kind of make these accomplishments on there in order to become monetized. It's kind of like a hit or miss. You could have a good day, bad 2 years, bad 4 years. But you hear me, right? You hear me? So, but it's fun. You basically find your people, or they find you, and it's just an online community. And then you can take it elsewhere. I've seen a lot of babies being made out of Twitch, which is crazy. So it's bigger than people actually believe. It's just the streaming part is. When do you want to start this? What is your niche? What is your thing? You can do the same thing on YouTube. You can do the same thing on Facebook Live, but because there's so many like different rules and regulations, people kind of stick to like one. Like if you go on Facebook and somebody in the background is playing like your jam, like Facebook flags it, Yeah. So it's kind of like it depends on whose AI is better. But there's ways to tweak it. And shout out to my gamer friends and my geeks out there. We have found the way to do that. But,
I love nerds. Nerds rule the world. It's true.
So the losses sometimes kind of like demotivates people. And you would take it as a win because you went in sixth, last to enter type of thing. You go in second, but now you want to decide. You're deciding to run for a bigger office in 2026. What I want to know is what made you decide on doing that, and what are the key issues that you do plan to address?
Yeah, so in the special election, I wound up only losing by 1,000 votes. So I know that I like to connect with people from the heart, right? And because my life experience and journey is not perfect, a lot of these people seem so whitewashed and like Mother Mary, and nobody's life is like that. And so my story, like I had a really tough 20s. I'll be 32 this year. And it's like when you can put your own life in order strategically over a large period of time, like that says something to your character that you can do that on a larger scale. So in 2026, I'm not saying what I'm running for yet or what it'll be because it's going to be a spicy. I kind of like to leave some mystery here, but same thing I've had in my heart since was at Thanksgiving with some friends last year. I'm like, "Are you going to run again?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know what for." The whole time I'm sitting there, and I know
What? At least let me know that you know these deadlines this time. Because, it's almost last minute. I feel like it's last minute because it's like. But anyways, big shout out to everybody listening. If you're just tuning in, we are here with Marisa Simonetti. Damn, I practiced it. Simon Reddy. Oh my.
I love that you do the hand thing.
Yeah. Shout out to I'm from New York, so I had some Italians that it'll knock you out for eating spaghetti wrong, but whatever. But you're not really. I think I've heard this in some of your conversations that you're not a hometown Minnesotian. You came from I'm gonna say the mountains of Pennsylvania. Like I'm gonna say that, and you were kind of like you were homeschooled, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the homeschooled life? And did you have any friends growing up? Like, I don't know what. Senior year, I played tennis for our local high school. And senior year, I wanted to go to public school right after being homeschooled. 11 days, I was like, take me back. Because I like having the ability to construct my own time. And I would get up in the morning, I would do my stuff, I'd get ahead of it, and then I'd just go read. I was actually the nerd, right? I didn't like blossom or become like I know I'm cute, right? Conventionally attractive. I know you're cute. I'll say it here live. I'm gonna get in trouble for it. They're gonna tell me to protect my lawn. But
well, I didn't become conventionally attractive until the last couple of years.
Okay. I mean that's a sense of self, though.
It is.
It's a sense of self. Yes. I have daughters, so I can see that they don't have a sense of self yet, and I'm hoping that they get it before the wrong person tries to tell them who they are.
How old are your daughters?
My daughters are, damn, I got a lot of daughters. I do.
You have a lot?
Yeah, 19.
Oh.
I got a 25-year-old. She finally, don't worry about it.
You look so young.
It's just the curls. I promise you, it's just the curls.
I'm dumbfounded right now. I thought you were going to say like 5, 7.
No, I got no 5, 7-year-old girls. I have a 12-year-old. I have a 16-year-old. I have a 17-year-old. And it seems crazy, but like after high school, especially with the two adults, that they started kind of like finding themselves. And you can see the selfies with the light glitter, with the glitter. I was like, who the hell is this kid? Because, whatever. Was that kind of how it happened for you, where you kind of like find some sense of self?
I think I really found it through like just going through hard times and challenges. And actually, when you have your kids, like I can't wait. I only have one son. I can't wait to become a mother again. Someday, I'm going to get married and have more kids. And like you don't have the option to like give up anymore. You have to make things the best it can be because like you have someone watching and you have someone who counts on you. So yeah, I had my son when I was 2017, so 23, 24. And it like, you just got to keep going and go through whatever shows up. And just
let everybody know when these kids were, I was in the Navy, okay? So,
I was going to ask, are you a Navy guy?
So I was in the Navy, all right? And it's not like stereotypical or whatever, but I was one of those guys that the relationships did not work out, okay? It was either me or them, and it was either I was too involved with what was going around me, or they just didn't want to feel lonely anymore. So I had the name calling and all that stuff when people break up and all that stuff. I get it, blah, blah. But in reality, like, I didn't know who I was. Guys go through that same thing too. But when I started becoming a dad, man, that perception of everything, like giving up, it was not an option. So I totally understand where you're coming from. And shout out to the dads who talk crap and gave up on their kids. You don't make sense. You need to go somewhere, right? But I'm against the deadbeat. I don't know. I'm against the deadbeat, and something crazy. I didn't want to mention it on this show, but since we're talking about parenting and how much it really influences us on things, because they're watching, right? The kids are watching. So I just saw one of my kids for the first time in 4 years. Okay. They're an adult. They had high school. The reason they couldn't visit me is because they're working. Now, I made the 12-hour trips driving to go see them all the time, visits when they had long weekends. Cops were involved because mom was kind of the chick that, didn't want to have him in my life. The boyfriend that she was with was super abusive, and he claimed my kids and wanted to make sure I was. Whole big story when he was growing up. Whatever, right? Send child support. Child support was never an issue for me. And I'm saying that, and not saying that it didn't drive me broke, okay? Because it did, all right? But in reality, it just didn't make sense for me not to pay child support, okay? I got a kid. The mom is there. I don't care what she's doing with the money. I did my part. She should be mature enough to do what she needed. Did all that, went to his graduation, like I said, and that was like the last time I saw him. Yeah. My daughter, which is his sister, right? But when I talk about relationships, there's more than one baby moms. So his sister graduating, she was the one that was kind of held against me. Like, it was crazy. I don't know why. Like, our relationship was over. We knew it. We knew we had to do it better for the kids, but like I said, there was a boyfriend involved, and that kind of influenced her to keep the daughter away from me. I couldn't make it to her graduation, and it wasn't because I wasn't free. It was because they didn't let me know. The next time they sent me a picture that she graduated as if, hey, you missed this. But in reality, I've been asking, when is it? What's going on? I'm not on the list of parents' emails and stuff like that. This is basically baby mama drama until they were adults. And I finally see both of them. Now, it's really cool that I saw them, but now all these kids are grown. And every single one of them were uncomfortable on how we saw them. And the reason I bring it up now, and the reason that we're talking it up, is because as soon as I mentioned deadbeat, I've never felt so much like a deadbeat until I saw my kid yesterday over the weekend, because one, the hug was uncomfortable.
Oh.
What? All that stuff I did for you and the hug is uncomfortable? You get what I'm saying? All that stuff that, all the emails and texts that I'm giving you, happy holidays, this is the only thing I can do, because now you're out here chasing ass and titties, right? And dad has to support the dumb shit because what else do I got? But anyways, I've never ever felt so much like a deadbeat until then. So I get it. I get a whole bunch of dads don't get appreciated until it's too late. But damn, man, I never really felt that. And then my daughter was there. She was super happy. And this is the relationship we always had, because it almost felt as if we had a forbidden kind of relationship, which is crazy because that's my kid. That's my daughter. But it always felt forbidden. It always felt like we had to hide a text message. I got into the game Animal Crossing because the game, you can text each other, and that was the way me and her would communicate, because her mom was such a filter. It was so bad. But enough about me. Enough about me. This is the type of thing is when you're in a position, in the position that you're trying to be in, you're going to hear these stories, and people are going to want some kind of change, and it's going to start from you and you know, your office. What are some stories that you've heard that you're like, bro, I got to change this for that person, or I can relate, or, you know, what are some stories you've heard?
So I remember last year I went to one forum. You know, you mentioned my assault charge, and I'll tell you that really it was quite the situation, a huge backstory to it. I didn't hit anybody. I tipped a tarantula you ever seen the movie Home Alone remember Kevin House?
Yeah.
This lady was in my house. I had asked her to leave. She wouldn't leave. Nobody was helping me. And she had gotten violent towards me. She had shut my arm in the door. I was like, I got to get her out. I can't have my son around this. So my plan was to get a spider and scare her. And I thought she'd leave. And I wound up arrested.
Oh, my God.
So I spent the weekend in jail. Made it on mug shouties. It's all.
I saw. Oh, my God.
People are like, I'd be home alone with her.
You know, it's crazy because it's a social media world. So this stuff is not going to go away. And it's going almost on 10 years that it happened, right?
No, this was last summer.
Last summer? Oh, man, hell no. You're good. 2030. That's it. Oh, my. Shit on the internet lasts for 5 years and then become nostalgic. That's crazy. Wow.
You know, the tenant laws here are actually a lot of people were very understanding because I had so many people come to me and be like, yeah, I had a renegade tenant who trashed my property, who put all kinds of things on the walls, did all kinds of things. People go out of their way to take advantage. And the lady in my basement was an attorney, and she was playing games with me. She was 31 and did the whole thing, but she was playing little games. And I don't do that. Like, my home is my safe space for me and my son. And anything that threatens that, yeah, you're going to get tarantula tossed out. And I stand on business.
You know, it could have been different, right? Anybody coming in the house, it could have been different. It could have been different. Somebody could have been dead. Like, let's get serious. I know. I could already.
I mean, what would you do if someone was in your house?
I'm telling you right now. Did you hear how many kids I have? I'm super protective.
Yeah, how many do you have?
I'm not going to tell the number. You said I look young. Every time I say a number, I look older. But anyways, it's a lot. And I got my shit together, people. Okay. But anyways, I do this every day. I think I don't really sleep, right? So I think like the furnace will go off and I got to check the whole house. Like if somebody really was attempting, I visualize this all the time. Like on I'm going to have to do a backflip, you know, stuff like that. Do a RKO on somebody, you know, the wrestling move, boom. Like it's crazy. Cause I don't have the pumes in the house because there's so many people in my house with acronyms, and I say acronyms as in mental health, right? So there's so many people in my house with mental health issues that I would hate that they get that emotional, and they do get emotional over fucking dishes. Okay, but anyways, just do the fucking dishes, bro. Just do the fucking dishes. And I'm probably one of the ones, and it's probably not safe for me to have one either, but because people get into their moods, right? They get into their things. And that's part of the, you know, and that's part of the public safety in my house. So if somebody was not getting out of my house, I'd be on the mugshot right next to you. You know? Right next to you. So right now you have probably one of the, you know, I've seen my brother's a dancer in New York, right? And he invited me somewhere where they were doing like a luncheon for an elected official. You know, dude was doing his campaigning and stuff like that, and he had his own little issues, and he won. Like, and this is like 10 years ago where you couldn't cheat on your wife. Now it's kind of like, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you good. that shit happens. Of course shit happens because people be in my DMs. But anyways,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Like it's not even. But the thing is like that's not the same when it's a small town state type of thing. Like when it's a big city, it's almost like it's okay, it's a slap in the wrist. But when you go to like where you're at, and this is just me because I've never been out there, it's kind of like you gotta be like, if you're not a Mormon, then it's not acceptable. Like, am I crazy thinking like?
I'm gonna go knocking on doors, and people are gonna. Politics or Mormon? Which one are they shut the door faster?
But in reality, you've openly discussed, your involvement in adult work and what led you to share this life publicly, and what message do you hope to convey? Because it's always going to be brought up. Yeah,
I mean, so the girl who was in my house, she knew I was running for public office, the squatter. The day she showed up, she knew personal information about me. And that I have her on video, like she was threatening to expose my OF and ruin my campaign, like those exact words. So she knew personal information about me that I never shared with her coming in. So she was there like 2 weeks before things started going south. So it was like a very strange sort of thing. So I feel like your personal business, like people have a right to privacy. Like you share what you want to share and you feel comfortable with your boundaries. It had nothing to do with the job. So I was like, well, nobody's business. At the time I was a faceless creator. It was nobody's business. And that they put it in the news, and then one thing led to another. And then now here we are. So bamboozle.
You know what? I don't care.
Aww.
You know what? Because people running for politics, any kind of like thing, it has to be bigger than them. Okay? Yeah. It's that I don't see how this is going to be, no matter what the motive is, it has to be bigger than you, right? And it's not single mom motivated. It's something bigger, something that you kind of like, okay, we gotta do something. Something got to change. I seen a TikTok because I watched the TikToks. I saw that you did something with Jay, which was crazy, 1 million something views. Not for nothing, but if no one has told you, and this is respectfully, you're sexy as fuck. Okay, all right. So give me don't blush, bro, because that's how I end up with more little ones. But anyways, the thing is, you're doing all this stuff, and I seen one thing where you're at the gym or about to go to the gym, you're taking for a walk, you see an article about the concerns that the city has. And some of those concerns are the public safety.
Yeah. Can
we talk about that? And how do you try to turn that around?
Yeah. I mean, so one thing that I loved and came up during my campaign, Minnesota has programs like Canopy Roots that you talked about mental health. When they get an emergency call, sometimes people need support and not police involvement, right? And so it's called Canopy Roots, and they divert some of these calls to trained mental health professionals who go and bring care and support. And rather than, because the police are more force, right? They will just continue to escalate force. And sometimes that's unhelpful. That makes the situation worse. And sometimes that's not what people actually need to get the highest and best conclusion and help them. So I definitely think investing in programs like that are more kind help people a lot. So I learned a lot, and I'm still learning a lot through my campaign, and a lot of it is conversations that I have. And when you talk with someone and like they give you like you share a story and it like, aw, right? It's a clue.
Yeah.
Of like the direction have you experienced that where it's like, oh, it's a clue.
Yeah. Not Blue's Clues type of clue, but but yeah, like
Inspector Gadget. It's a clue.
Oh, that's hilarious. But I get it. That's kind of like a ping, like something is telling you, like, okay, and then you add it to the list or something like that. Things that you need to like figure out. You know, I wanna take a quick break real quick, and I just want to talk about things when we come back after this break of how it doesn't seem like the scrutiny is bothering you. Like, it seems like it's, bro, you just part of the comments. Like, because that's basically where it's at. But when it's face to face, I've seen some videos where you're trying to like, I think people are asking you questions. I don't know if it's a town hall or something like that. I want to talk about that experience because I feel like it's not friendly when the doors close and in politics. And we'll talk about that here in a second. If you guys are just tuning in with us, this is Marisa. Let me try. I practice Simonetti.
Just say Stan Simonetti.
Bruh. Okay.
Bruh.
We'll be right back, everybody.
Summertime and the wind is blowing outside, and Lord Chelsea, I don't know what I'm doing in the city. The sun is always in my eyes. It crashes through the windows and I'm sleeping on the couch. When I came to visit you, that's when I knew that I could never have you. I knew that before you did. Still I'm the one who's stupid. And there's this burning like there's always been. I've never been so alone, and I've never been so alive. Visions of you on a motorcycle drive by. Cigarette ash flies in your eyes and you don't mind. You smile. You say the world, it doesn't fit with you. I don't believe you. You're so serene. Careening through the universe. Your axis on the tilt. You're guiltless and free. I hope you take a piece of me with you. And there's things I would like to do, but you don't believe it. I would like to build something, yeah, you'll never see it happen. And there's this burning, like there's always been. I've never been so alone, and I say, I've never been so alone.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking to Marisa Simonetti. Got through the shout out to my Italians out there. If you guys are just tuning in, we're talking to Marisa Simonetti, a newbie at the politician world, but taking it very, very serious. Has a bachelor's degree in psychology. I wanted to get into law, and then that went another way. But going into politics is basically going into law a different perspective, putting things into legislation instead of defending what is already there. So that's one way to look at that. So it did work out, right? It did work out. And then, but we're talking about a lot of things, and I don't know how, but we ended up into a parental talk. But I think that's a big part of the real person. And because whatever is on social media is on social media, right? I seen you skating. You remember you talked about the same tee, right? But But one of the things that came out of that was you're super, super happy, and then you're just skating, but it's all for self. Like, not all for self. Once you put yourself first. Like, that's the real message. The smiles, the feel good, the sun rays type of thing. I think it's because spring is coming. But because this winter was a winter.
Yes.
Okay. But, and I know that you just kind of like, you post on social media and do your thing, either campaign or personal life like that. And it's basically as transparent as it is. Yourself, where was it that you found yourself? Some people have epiphanies and stuff like that. I don't know. But where was it for you?
I think like every day we're evolving into like a different, and if you are oriented to grow a better version of yourself, but there's always like that quiet voice that you feel that you're like, I could be better, and this is what it would look like. And I'll tell you, I've had to get really honest and make some really tough choices personally recently about like, this is the direction my life is going. These things that either are or not in alignment may or may not be coming with me, and to let those go. And actually, as a parent, my son was, kids feel, right, they share your life with you, and sometimes you got to include them in age appropriate ways. And he was sitting eating. Have you seen those Costco grapes before? It's like a big thing.
Yeah, big ass.
Yeah, yeah. And so he was feeling some sadness about something we are leaving and isn't in alignment. And I asked him. I said, if you had a thing full of rotten grapes and someone came to the door and they had fresh grapes, and I said, you can have these grapes, but you got to get rid of the rotten ones first. He said, what would you do? And he goes, I'd get rid of them. I go, that's right. I said, but what if you wanted to hold on to those rotten grapes? Would there be space in the container for the fresh ones? And he's like, oh, no. So I try and like talk with my son, right? Because sharing some things that you go through, it's like, this is life. They're going to go through it too. So my son and I both felt a little sad together yesterday, but that's life, right?
Don't tell me it was because of John Cena. Don't tell me.
John Cena.
Don't tell me that. But
what happened to John Cena?
John Cena is a bad guy now. He's on the way to, retire, and he chose to go the bad way before he left. It's hilarious.
Being a villain is more fun.
I mean, we see that, we see that. It gets a little bit more projection, Well, behind the scenes, we talked about the polarization of the nation right now, right? And it is a weird world out there because there's a lot of people with a lot of problems, and there's a lot of people that took advantage of those people with a lot of problems and try to create the problems of their own, which I'm one of them, right? I'm a vet. I'm trying to tell people my back hurts, but I'm not trying to complain about it because I don't want my back to hurt. Okay? I don't. And, we go out there, get some benefits, get it. I was one of the first people, no lie, this is crazy. And I didn't realize it until like a few days ago. I was one of the first people that were like veteran guys that corporations had to fire. I was working my post-military job, my first one. I went to school for cybersecurity. I'm geeked out and stuff like that, blah, blah. I'm taking these calls. And then I didn't realize it, but somebody told me. I think they were like warning me. But because I didn't talk at work. No new friends for me. It's a no new friends thing. I'm like that old where like if you're not saying how good my lawn looks, like we're not cool. Like, cause it's just like, we're cool. We could be cool, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that kind of like insiders anymore because there's just too many. And I want to talk about this thing you talked with your son about because it really put in perspective of a lot of things. You want to tell them young because if not, they'll just let this run all over them. And we know that for a fact because I don't know how long it took you to let go of some college friends and and things like that, or even, kids where you were growing up. But I was one of those first veterans to like get fired because I was one. And
that's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. Somebody literally was just talking to me and they were warning me like 2 or 3 weeks. And they were like, I'm hearing that they're about to fire a bunch of veterans to get money. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And they're like, yep. And you're like a retired vet? Like, I don't talk to nobody at work. How does he know all this information about me? And he's like a colleague. He's not like a supervisor or anything like that. How does he know all this information about me? And he's like, I'm telling you right now, man, they're about to cut all the veterans. And I'm like, why? He was like, the company gets money for it. Like you did a good job. Thank you for it. You get a grant. And then, but if you pass like a year with them, they don't get the grant. And it was crazy because I was 1 month away from the year.
Oh, so you knew your time was ticking.
So I was like, what the? But I was warned. I was like, okay. But fortunately, I got a retirement pension. I got other things going on for me that I don't really have to work. I'm good. I did my time. Okay. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I just lost my fucking job. For what? Right? But anyways, so there's a lot of things going on, right? There's a lot of things going on. What are some of the things that you agree with or disagree with? Or is that something that you trying to keep away from the snippets of the internet because your colleagues, your associates will use it against you? Like, what are some things that you are pro? What are some things that you are against?
Well, one thing that's super interesting is you're telling the story, like, people are so motivated by the dollar. Like, the time was ticking. You could predict that you had about a month left because you knew what it would take for them to get paid. So there's way too much of that doesn't benefit people who have served, whether it's like I supported nurses throughout my campaign, like firefighters, people who actually like serve the community, veterans. My first ex-fiance back in Pennsylvania, he was an Army guy. So he was an Army vet. And yeah, there's just such it's a glorification of the dollar and just not respecting people at all. And like anybody who hears that story knows they're going to follow the money and do exactly what it takes for them to get in their pockets. And, business has its place, right? There can be a toxic sort of family culture where, performance has nothing to do with anything. And it's just, well, everybody gets included because whatever. I think that's too far. But yeah, how did you handle, you were warned. What was your next step? So
for me, like this dude who was, remember, they're colleagues. He's basically just supervising the situation around him. He's basically in my spot, but in a supervisor position. So there's no I can't understand. How do I say this? All right. So he's in a supervisor position, but he cannot make the moves. So can I take what they said specifically serious? Right? That was one of the things. Can I take what they said specific serious? I think he was also out of work for a few months because of a sickness. They held him together and all this other stuff. So he comes back and I feel like it was like a bunch of people talking crap. Right? And I don't get into the work crap. Like I said, no new friends. Like I'm there to go, come back. I literally have a job so I don't like have a failed relationship with my kids, as we discussed before, because the kids that live with me, they get the post-military guy, and the post-military guy is always a bad dude, right? You're grateful for being home. I tell you that. But as soon as somebody slams the door wrong, remember the COVID days? Yeah. Like you couldn't really, you didn't want to stay home, right? But at that time, I was still in the service when the COVID happened. I was grateful that I was home. Oh, I don't got to go to work today, or I don't got to work for a few days. Oh, the numbers are going up. Okay, we're good. Because there was just a lot of stoppage that kind of benefited a lot of people that was kind of mad, like at being away. So for me, when I went to work, it was more like a sanity check, because boredom is real. Okay. And boredom has you thinking stuff that you don't have to think about. And with my little history, I kind of tell this story about how as a veteran, I left. I knew thousands of people. I led thousands of people in my time. 5 people call me. So alone is real as well. So when I'm sitting there and I got all this boredom, I'm like, yo, I got to get a job. So I go get a job. I talk to my friends on Discord. Those are the ones that have been holding me down for a long time. And I don't know them for crap. Like you ever had like a friend that hasn't had a relationship in a long time and they finally get a relationship and you get like protective, but you gotta do it for the D, right? I'm having these conversations with them because I got nothing going on. You get what I'm saying? But it's real because they're real to me, right? And I want them to get excited. I want them to have the intimacy. I want them to, because that stuff could get lonely because all your friends have relationships, right? And I want them to have that. But those are exciting things. Like I've never cared about if anybody was dating anybody before. I've never cared about it. Anyways, shout out to my friends. They've been holding me down. So when I go to work and I come back, I'm not talking to these people. So I'm not sitting here having these conversations, getting into the politics of the job. I'm not doing any of that. But when it happened so human resource like. It was crazy. They waited until I clocked in. They waited till I signed my paycheck thing, and then they hit me up and told me come to the office. And then it's crazy because they have this situation where I can't go back into it. Remember, I was working cybersecurity, so I can't go back in there because I can go in there, fuck the whole system up because I'm mad, right? So they said, give me your badges, whatever, blah, blah. We got to let you go and things like that. Now, I'm going to tell you, I cried.
Aww.
I flipped out. But you know who I called? I called my friend that finally got D. Like, I finally, like, yo, bro.
Yeah.
Like, cause, you know, so I was like, man, but when my wife, she'd say, don't worry about it. All right. I know exactly why you got the job. You got bored. Just do what you love to do. Right. Yeah. And she's active. So I got to play the housewife again, which is a cool role. No lie. So shout out to all the guys that do this. It's mad cool. You know, have the whole house smelling like Clorox is really cool. But it's really dope. And then, you know, if the kids don't like your food, they can leave. Right. But
exactly.
I was able to handle it in a way that if it wasn't for my wife or my friends, like I don't know, you know, people that actually stay home because they don't want to go in the workforce, because I got a degree on something that when you go out there and you utilize it, you got to start from the bottom. And it almost makes no sense. Like I went to school and then I got this high school kid who's been doing it 2 or 3 years in the same position that I'm in, and I got a bachelor's. It almost makes no sense. So, and that's another thing, you know, I get scared of things like Board of Education shutting down. Since you're involved somewhat in that, what does that really mean to the people who think like the Board of Education is going to be shut down? Does that mean that it's just going to be a freestyle of what we educate do you know what does that mean? Because people are going to ask these questions to you during this campaign. These are a lot of things going down.
Yeah. Means we're going outside and throwing snowballs.
Recess forever, bro.
We're going on a field trip.
Oh my God. Doing whatever the hell we want. Like, I feel like right now, and this is probably going to get a little polarizing or whatever, so bear with me. I feel like there's sort of a disconnect on what, people got to understand. States, they basically run their state, and then they get like money from the big guys, right? When there's not enough money coming from within your state. So when people are like, and if I got that wrong, somebody please just tell me, just educate me. But when you got the big guys talking like, we're going to take all these things, all these laws, and we're going to just X them out, and you're just going to have to deal with it. There's a reason that we brought the laws into a a federal matter, because then it goes across the board versus if you're doing it in one state. You know how when you go to one state and you go to another, like if you've ever been to Jersey, you can't pump your own gas there, and then if you ever go like to Pennsylvania, it just switches, and it's like right there. It's like literally right next door to each other. And, there's so many things like in this state you could do this, in this state you could do that, in this state you could do that. And then, but when it came to like the majority was like, okay, the Amber Alerts. We already know how they annoy the crap out of people, but they're there for a reason.
You get that text and you're like, forget that kid.
Nah, I don't know if I say that, but I swear.
Back in the car, you're like, screw it, that text was annoying.
They annoy the shit out of people, but they're there for a reason, right? And
so funny.
Oh my God, pray for the kids, bro. But I guess my question is, when the big guys are basically taking things away, and there's a lot of rich people, but there's not a lot of rich people at the same time, and some people just want to make sure that they're okay, that they're safe, that there's a plan B for them if something doesn't work out. We need people that have stuff over their heads, kind of feel included, because if not, then crime happens. People are going to get jealous. People are going to do what, like, I think I was telling a few people, like, people don't steal phones no more. There's just too many of them out. Now, if it does happen, it's more than likely, like, somebody doesn't have something and they need, like, a quick return. Because in reality, I don't think people, like, go to try to steal somebody's phone anymore. There's just too many out there. Now, if I'm being like stupid or if I'm like, how do you say, ignorant to that, then let me know. But at the same time, I swear that I've dropped my phone. This specific phone that I don't know how I had the same phone for 2 years, with all the phones coming out, but
it's the Amber Alerts.
With the Amber Alert. So this phone has been dropped, left at a gym, somewhere in a restaurant, all this other stuff, and has been returned to me.
Wow.
Versus
you have a blessing then.
No, I don't, because I used to because it was never like that before, But this is how I figured that the trend is gone of stealing the phone, unless I'm ignorant to that. But how do you feel about all these things? Like, we got big man up there, I'm all USA, 100% I'm USA. So I'm not going to go against things. But a lot of social media is out there that is changing a lot of people's minds. And it's either misinformation or it is the factual information, but it's thrown with a little bit of music on top, and then it makes it emotional information, you know? And I think people forget that part where they take these little bits of facts or even misinformation and try to evoke people's emotions into things. So
Yeah.
I know that you, single mom, star power, don't want to be manipulated, but you see your Americans, regardless of what side they're on, being manipulated. So it you know, how is that? Because these are the things where people are just going to be like cursing you out if they haven't yet, you know?
Yeah. I think social media, a lot of, like, you notice my stuff's a little bit different. A lot of it's arguing and fighting. And even like you and I and podcasts I go on, like, I want to have fun and talk about issues, but like in a way that like is more light. And I think the biggest thing you asked me, like, how did I find myself? And it's always, no matter what anybody else is doing, what do you need to do within your set of like boundaries that your life is good? And then you choose yourself. And it doesn't mean hurting other people, but it's like, I'm doing this for me, not to you. This is like, for example, maybe you want to go get this job. You're doing it for you to build yourself, to provide for your family. And really unplugging, because exactly what you said, a lot of this stuff is just emotional, fearful drama mongering. But it's like, what's going to make your life better? Go back and get your degree. Go for that promotion. Go to the gym. Like, eat that healthy food. Right? Whatever it may be, just a little thing to make your life better. Do it for yourself. And for me, that's a no-fail strategy. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes people don't come with you. But you always have yourself.
Big shout out to everybody listening. If you're just tuning in, we got Marisa with me. I'm not going to do the whole Simonetti thing, but we talked a lot about upbringings, things that are going on here in the United States. The politics, even though they seem novice, they seem to be a calling for her. And the calling is I don't see myself going to politics. I'm telling you right now. I don't care who says you should do. You talk great. I'm like, yeah, if I talk a lot, then there's a problem. You know, like, no one wants to hear all that. And there's always going to be somebody that's going to be like, it's too much. We talked about your growing up and how that probably shaped who you are. And shout out to your son, by the way, because having a strong mom is a big deal, especially because that's how I grew up. I grew up with a strong mom, 3 boys in the house, all of us lying to her while she stays a little sweet, you know. I just saw my mom for the first time in a long time this week. I live out of state. You know, the Navy took me away from my hometown. And so going to see family is kind of big, you know, especially if they're around, you know, because time is a thief. So dealing with all this, being a businesswoman, being in the statewide job, the statewide gig is big. What are some issues? I mean, I'm sure we probably tried to talk about this earlier. Your primary goals, if you are elected, or should I say, when you are elected, right? For statewide office, what are your primary goals?
Yeah, more than any specific issue, I think what I've brought to my life and what I can aim towards, right? Because you got to know where you're going to get there, is just finding peace, and even through conflict, maintaining relationships and peace and centeredness. So my life isn't conflict free. Like, I still have things that I need to address, but there's a difference of moving through something and being in chaos, which I've been in before, and feeling like I'm coming from a place of like trauma and whatnot, to, okay, this is a situation. Facts might, darn these set of facts, right? This fact pattern sucks, right? Oh, I really wish I didn't have to, but then moving through things with ease and grace. And that's the point where I'm at for the most part. You know, I still wrestle with things, get annoyed, but
Real
things
quick.
are,
Don't
yeah,
worry.
I'm Italian. I'm gonna say something.
I mean, let me tell you, man, everything bothers me. Okay. So everything bothers me. I don't even know. Everybody thinks I'm a nice guy. I'm like, really? I'm not. You know, I'm not. But I appreciate the transparency because in reality, look, how long we've been hearing about things that are going wrong in the church, right? About the positions that we have put our children in, right? In the church. I'm from a Catholic spot, and I've never gone to a priest and he touched my balls. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank God.
So I don't even know where these kids are coming from. But the thing is, it's like, yo, you got a different Jesus experience, right? So shout out to you. But the thing is, it's like, you know, we got that. And then all of a sudden, you know, we still have people that are in hierarchy, like the Pope or people like that, right? These things, like people try to trample things that have been going on for thousands and thousands of years, forgetting that even though the history might be fucked up, okay, sometimes that's how we get to where we are now. Things have to be fucked up first. Things need to be really messed up. I wanted to. I know your kid does he go to public school? Do you put him in private school? Okay. Oh, that's a different experience because you don't, forgive me, but you don't know what that's like. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. So there's a lot of people there. You got the rich kids, you got the unfortunate kids, you got the middle class, all that in the same classroom. Like it's ridiculous, right? But to bring that up, and the reason I bring up the kid is when I was young, I was motivated to have a green thumb. They're still having that conversation. Like 30 plus years later, we're having a green thumb, like take care of the earth, take care of the earth, take care of the earth. I'm like, bro, we had to already take care of the earth. I was reading science books. I really was. Photosynthesis. I don't know how to spell it, but I know how it works, right? So I'm like, why are my kids still having the same conversations or education type thing about their surroundings years later? I feel like they should be already on the Jetsons type of thing. You know, they should already be, not specifically that. Nobody wants to live in a Seattle freaking needle type of house, but but you get what I'm saying? Like, when is the progress going to happen? But things have to be messed up in order for people to take to make it change, to make it things and do all those things. And things are messed up right now for a specific people, because what are they going to do without this stuff? And that's the dependency that I believe that people forget. Like, you ain't supposed to be dependent on the government, right? Yeah. You're not supposed to be. They're there to keep some kind of law and order, to keep some kind of something. People just always want free crap. Like, I want free crap all the time. That's it.
I'm pretty. I get free crap.
Bro, I don't have that life, madam. I don't have that life. Oh my God. Never paid for a drink in her life, I swear.
Somebody sent me off my Amazon wish list a Chipotle gift card. Now it was $50, right? So it's not literally those little things that just, you're like, oh, that's so kind. And then you go to Chipotle and you like have a nice meal and you're just like, God is so kind. The universe is so kind. So people, with the uncertainty, you always have what you need. Always believe in yourself that you can problem solve, but God never puts in front of us more than we can handle. Even your worst day, you made it through. My worst day, I made it through. We got this, right? And it's the people we have in our lives, I think, who support us. Like you mentioned, your wife and your friends. Like sometimes just having someone to talk to and kind of just let that down. We're like, okay, I got this, right? What's the next step and the next step and the next step? So speaking of which, one thing I love about my lifestyle, my son has a music program today.
Okay.
So in the middle of the day, right? This is part of why I picked my industry and why I've designed my life. I get to go and be one of the parents who gets to come to his music program at 10 a.m. So yeah, it's like those little things. I love being a mom and being there and showing up. So yeah, this has been so fun. I've had so much fun with this conversation.
Yeah. And just to add on, I love the bus stop. I love the bus stop. I don't know if you take him to school, but I love the bus stop. That being home type of thing.
Yeah.
Really, really fun talk. Thank you so much for your transparency. I can't, if you guys want more information, she is all over the internet. Okay. The good, the bad. Okay. It is crazy. Yeah, definitely. I hope you have fun over there. Because, as they develop, I've seen a lot of mine grow, and it is crazy. I don't know how I have a homecoming king, and I don't know how I have a Mr. High School. I don't know who that kid is, because that kid don't talk to me. But anyways, he's there. He's here. And I got a celebrity in the building, just like you. Thank you so much for our conversation. And when things go in campaign mode, let us know, and we'll definitely try to help out.
I can't wait. Yeah, this has been so fun.
Thank you so much, Marisa, and you have a great day.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.